Welcome to a Healing Peace podcast. My name is Kimir Baker. I am an overcomer, writer, speaker, and God enthusiast. I am fueled by helping women achieve their emotional healing so that they can live the abundant life God has for them. In this podcast series, we provide faith-based inspiration to mend from emotional hurt, along with tools and tips for emotional wellness. In your journey, as you apply these tools and tips, you will begin to live the transformed life that you always desired. In fact, you will possess a new you. Hello, family. I hope you enjoyed the interview with Tanya. We talked about healthy family dynamics. And boy, did she have a wealth of information. As you know, I always enjoy spending time going over, highlighting all the goodness that are in the interviews and sharing great tools and tips to keep you guys moving forward in your healing transformation journeys. Before I dig into those wonderful tools and tips, I would like to talk to you candidly for a brief moment. In fact, I don't know why I'm about to tell you my business. Okay, I'll be honest. Y'all probably used to it by now. Well, here's a little bit more sharing for you. I think I've told you guys previously how I went to the gym, was exercising, and even had my little meditation music going. So when I was exercising, I could be pumping myself up with God. And then, of course, the pandemic hit, and I was like, I ain't about to fool with that. I ain't about to get no cooties. They shut down, they reopened. I'm like, they are reopened still. I ain't fooling. And of course, with me being an engineer, I was like, I need to come up with a plan. How am I going to still get my exercise on? As I previously shared, I do like riding my bike. And doing that helps me to stay healthy and connect with nature, do something fun and different. While I'm pedaling up, playing my little music, it's a great little time for me. But you know what? I live down south, and it sure does get hot down south. So my little bike riding plan, kind of fizzled out a little bit. But me, again, being an engineer, I'm smart. I'm like, I ain't gonna go out like that. I still got some things rolled up. Let me roll up my sleeves and get a little going. So I decided to start walking on my little treadmill. I got a treadmill in the house, and I even went the extra mile and bought some resistance bands. I was like, I can't lift weights, but I can do my resistance bands. I can stay in shape. I can walk. I can be healthy. And after a while, I was doing so good. I was like, hey, I can save me some good money by not going back to the gym. I got a gym in the house. Got my little routine, do my little walking, do my resistance bands, do my little ab exercises. I was working it out. And I was quite proud of myself. And you know what happens though? Well, this is where my story comes in. It took me by surprise. That is, one day I had decided to put on regular clothes. I don't know about y'all, but I have been chilling in my comfy clothes due to the pandemic. And chilling in the comfy clothes, well, it gives you the illusion that you're doing all right. So yes, ladies, I put on my normal clothes, and boy, was I surprised. I was like, what in the world? Why are they so tight? Now remember, I've been working out. I got my little regime going on. I'm proud of myself. My treadmill, my resistance bands, my little ab workout. And I was like, what's going on? That these clothes are cutting off my circulation. And I will say, ladies, I didn't stay long in them clothes. I didn't. About a couple of hours later, I took them off and put back on my good old comfy. And as I was putting back on good old comfy, I began to think and ponder what went wrong. I was exercising. I mean, come on. I came up with my little plan, proud of myself. What was I doing wrong? And as I kept thinking and thinking, I started remembering all those times where I decided not to work out that day. I would say, I am too tired. I already overdid it for the day. I'll try again tomorrow. Or I would actually muster up the energy. I'll work out. But yeah, I would cut my exercise program short. I would say to myself, well, at least I did a little something. I'm not too bad. At least I moved today. And as I say this, ladies, you're probably starting to think, well, now I understand why them clothes was a little tight on you. You was cutting corners. And you're right. Cutting corners landed me in the reality of, girl, I can't breathe. What in the world? Why am I sharing this with you? I'm pretty sure that all of us has kind of been dealing with a little extra heavy because of the pandemic and being home. And ladies, you do know that I love telling my stories. You know I do. But here is the point to this story. As I stated previously in the beginning, we all know that after every interview, I provide tools and tips. And these tools and tips provide methods and techniques to help us grow. In our growth, we allow God to provide the long-term transformation that we seek. I am also aware though, and sometimes, and I mean sometimes, we do not want to put forth the effort. We sometimes we say, hey, I'm just too tired. I don't have time to be putting in these new behaviors. You know, I had to deal with my child today. I had to deal with work today. It was just too. It's or we may even start making progress, like how I was making my little progress. But then we become all too comfortable. And just like in exercising, not moving our bodies, not exerting our muscles, causes long-term effects. The first one is the belly. This outcome is so prevalent when we are working to transform our muscles. It's like if we ain't moving, if we ain't shaking, muscles ain't being transformed, nothing happening. And so not only in the area of physical weight, in terms of our body structures, but this same effect occurs when we're not exercising healthy behaviors, when we are not allowing the chiseling away of the unhealthy version of ourselves. And that's why we are here at A Healing Peace, to remind you and encourage you, do that little hump and say, yes, you can, you can do it, you can do it. We are here to help encourage you, to help pick yourself up, and to reiterate and to strengthen and to say you can build healthy behaviors. Yes, you can. You can do it. I would say, I totally understand and get it. Those days where we just feel terrible and we don't got the energy to do it. I got you. I got you. And that's why we are here again. And with that being the case, I hope that as you hear and listen to these tools and tips, that you're able to begin to continue to build these healthy behaviors, to continue to work those muscles, and so that you're not in that phase where your pants is cutting off your circulation. And meaning that your behavior is cutting off the circulation of you having the life that you want. Okay, without further ado, let's get into our tools and tips. Here we go. Tip number 1. We've all heard this before. We all got problems. And actually, now that I say that, it's not necessarily a tip, but a statement of fact. Yes, we got some problems. The tip, though, is that while we all have our journey, there are common experiences that we possess. In these common experiences, we also have resources to help us through them. Tanya laid out so many in the interview. It was actually, I was trying to take notes, and after a while, I couldn't even keep up. So what we've done for you is that we have placed her resources on our website at healingpeace.com. So go there, healingpeace.com, click the resource tab, select therapeutic, and right on top of the page, you'll see a link for Tanya's resources. Take a moment, go back through them, and find things that work for you. Because in the interview, she talked about resources for anxiety, for support groups. There's a wealth of information to keep you on your wonderful journey and growth. Tip number 2. Tanya talked about interpersonal effectiveness. This tool involves healthy communication. Learn how to express your needs and feelings healthily. See, she suggests being assertive, not aggressive or passive. I would admit, for those who are learning how to do this, the temptation is to beat everyone into submission so they understand and hear you. Unfortunately, beating, well, it does cause more harm. Usually, the person no longer wants to be around you. We don't want that. So start small by saying, you know what? I require 5 minutes or so to process our interaction before I respond. This small act goes a long way as you are voicing your need to pause, your need to regroup. Hopefully, in the regroup time, you can determine the root cause of the emotion that's bubbling up. Once you regroup, begin the conversation with I statements. Tanya provided great examples. One in particular was stating, I feel hurt when you blame me for X, Y, and Z. It's I feel versus you drive me crazy. I want to kill you. Get away from me. Different conversation. I feel versus I'm about to beat you up. Great first step. Tip number 3. Sometimes you do just need more than 5 minutes. And you know what? That's okay. Tanya once again spoke about the joys of journaling. Yes, that is. Get you a little book, a pen, sit down, and start writing. And writing through your emotions and your thoughts and getting them out. And when you do this, it allows you to not keep all those things stuffed down, bottled up, And she talked about some of the consequences of keeping that stuff in. What'd she say? It can lead to anxiety, depression, and other emotional issues. Tip number 4. While you're working tips number 2 and 3, this is a great time to ask yourself questions to identify the hurt and deep feelings. And this again applies in your journaling. You're asking those questions and writing those things out. If another person is contributing to your hurt and deep feelings, this is also an opportunity to ask more questions. These new questions involve placing yourself in their shoes. Meaning, how would you respond if someone did X, Y, and Z to you? And as you're asking those questions, that X, Y, and Z are actually your own behaviors. So how would you respond if someone came off on you like how you just came off on them? Yes, put yourself in their shoes. And once you do this, you can also ask the other person to do the same. Overall, you're requesting that you both see your part in the situation. Because, boy, when it gets heated, usually you ain't trying to see their point, and they ain't trying to see your point, and then y'all just stay heated. So here's a moment to say, you know what? Hey, let's try to understand one another in this circumstance so we ain't angry all night. Tip number 5, which actually includes tips 2, 3, and 4, which is, yes, managing your anger. To manage your anger, Tanya suggested journaling, praying, and healthy communication. See, tip number 5 encompasses all the other tips. It's funny how all that just works together. Okay, tip number 6, which I really do like this tip, and that is healthy distractions. Yes, sometimes grown-ups require a timeout too. Yes, you do. Let me go and get my corner and do something that I enjoy on my side of the room. Tanya talked about that these timeouts should be filled with fun or a change of environment, like playing a game, praying, going for a walk. And even if you can't get out the house, a healthy distraction can also be doing chores. Just something where you have the moment to take a break so you can return to the matter at hand refreshed. We all need refreshing. Tip number 7, come up with a game plan so that when circumstances arise, you already have tactics in place. For instance, I've learned that when I'm feeling overwhelmed by a conversation, I usually take a little pause and I make the request, can we pray about this circumstance, this situation? Or can we take a moment to revisit the situation when I can think more clearly? I'll be honest, my first line of defense really has become, can we pray? That praying works every time. Tip number 8, overcome evil with good. Ooh, if we don't need that right now in this day and age. This applies to everything. Tanya reminded us that love covers a multitude of sins. I will preface this statement by saying that overcome evil with good does not mean remaining in abusive relationships. That's not what we're saying. Instead, It's about those moments where we're both heated and we lash out. I don't know how many times I've done that. My emotions done took over. I'm saying some stuff, acting a fool. In those moments, instead of lashing out, the goal is to practice good behaviors. These good behaviors include being humble and no longer thinking about having it your way. That's a hard one right there, because we all want our way, don't we? Yes, we do. All right. Tip number 9. We have shared this numerously throughout the show. That being breathing exercises and relaxation techniques. Tanya expressed her mental happy place is envisioning herself on the beach, listening to the waves, walking barefoot through the sand. Yes, find your happy place. In the interview that in the interview that Keisha Simone had with me, I expressed that my happy place was thinking about God holding me. That is something that sometimes you just need a good hug, some loving. And that's my happy place, like just a big old bear hug from God. Thank you. All right, ladies, we done made it to our last tip, which this is not a new tip either. That is, do the work. But I really did like how Tanya identified doing the work to establish a safe place for real communication. When we put in the work for healthy communication, we realize that we actually do not have to be invisible. We do not have to be enablers. And we definitely do not have to be codependent. And what an incredible outcome just for putting to practice healthy communication. We made it. We got through our 10 tools and tips. And as I've always stated, pick 1 or 2 things to work on. Don't try to tackle all of them at once. That's too much. Take little bites. And as you're doing these little bites, provide little opportunities for you to go back and revisit, like, wow, this is where I was before, and this is where I'm at right now, because you will make progression. Yay, yay, yay. And as I stated before, we're here to keep encouraging you guys through that progression so that you know that you're not by yourself and that you can have the great life that you want. Thank you very much. With that being the case, I'm going to end this wonderful episode. It was a lot of great information. Please come back next week. We are still plugging away. We're still doing some cool stuff, and we want you to be a part of it. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you next week.